Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a true game changer? Today we're heading back to 1996, the year DJ Shadow dropped, introducing an album that didn't just bend the rules of hip hop, it kind of ripped them up and made something totally new.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. Introducing
Hmm.
still sounds like it's from the future, even though it's over 25 years old now.
Right, like how do you create something in 1996 that still feels fresh today? It's all instrumental, built entirely from samples, pure hip hop innovation.
Absolutely. And to really appreciate how groundbreaking it was, we've got to rewind a bit. We've got DJ Shadow's recent interview where he reflects on it, his Wikipedia page, and this incredible deep dive from Wax Poetics magazine. They all paint this picture of young Josh Davis in the late 80s, completely obsessed with this new thing, sampling.
This was like the Wild West of hip hop before everyone and every producer had samples, right?
Exactly. Like, think about it. This is the era of Double D and Seinsky, Prince Paul, the Dust Brothers. They were figuring out the rules as they went, pushing the limits of what turntables and these new samplers could do.
And there's DJ Shadow way out in Davis, California, absorbing this whole movement that's exploding on the other side of the country.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it that the Bay Area wasn't exactly a hip-hop hotbed back then.
So true. He even talks about how UK music magazines became like his lifeline to that whole scene. They were packed with information about sampling and break beats that he couldn't find anywhere else.
It shows how global hip-hop was becoming, even then. But it also speaks volumes about his dedication. You know, he was piecing together this sonic puzzle from these fragments he found across continents, just driven by this need to understand this new sound.
It's like he was on a mission, almost obsessive about it.
Totally. And speaking of obsessions, we have to talk about Rare Records.
Oh, yeah, his legendary crate digging spot.
This wasn't just some random record store in Sacramento for DJ Shadow. Rare Records was like this pilgrimage site.
The Wax Poetics article and his Wikipedia page both talk about how it was this incredible community hub where he'd spend hours and hours not just digging for samples, but like immersing himself in music history.
I think that really comes through in the music, that deep appreciation for the history, the context.
It's so fitting that the cover of Introducing is actually a photograph taken at Rare Records, right?
Exactly. It wasn't just about finding a cool drum break. It was about capturing the energy of that space, the community that was dedicated to unearthing these hidden gems.
And that seems to be a recurring theme for DJ Shadow. He wasn't content with just sampling the obvious choices, the stuff everyone else was using.
Yeah, in that recent interview, he even calls it like breaking his own rules.
Yeah.
He wanted to unearth those obscure sounds, the forgotten tracks, the samples that would make you stop and go, whoa, where did that come from?
It's like he was on this quest, not just to sample, but to unearth these lost fragments of music and bring them back to life.
Exactly. It's more than just crate digging. It's this deep appreciation for musical history, for finding those diamonds in the rough.
And that's what makes Introducing so unique. It's not just a collection of beats. It's like this sonic tapestry woven together from all these different threads of musical history.
You can hear those hours spent digging through crates, the dedication to finding the perfect sound in every track. It's remarkable.
It's funny though, right? This album, this love letter to a specific sound, it ends up being the thing that launches him into the spotlight.
And that's where things get really interesting. It's this weird thing, right? Introducing
Mhm.
is this super personal album born from this kind of solitary process of digging and creating, and it unexpectedly connects with people on this huge scale.
Yeah, like this private world he created suddenly becomes this shared experience.
Exactly. And, you know, in that recent interview, he talks about how becoming this, like, star was never the point for him.
Yeah, which, knowing his music, makes total sense. He's always seemed more about the process, about pushing boundaries, not so much about the fame.
Absolutely. He even says he wasn't comfortable being labeled a trip-hop artist, even though Introducing is considered like a foundational trip-hop album.
It's funny how those labels can miss the mark sometimes.
Totally. Like, he was pulling from instrumental hip-hop, electronic music, ambient stuff, blending it all together.
And he did it all with such a minimal setup. When you think about the sounds he created, it's mind-blowing.
Right. Just him, an Akai MPC-60 sampler, a Technics turntable, and an ADAT recorder.
It proves that it's not about having the fanciest gear, it's about the vision, the artistry.
100%. And you could hear that dedication in every track, the way he layered those samples, the precision of his editing. He talks about spending days getting a single loop just right, finding the perfect texture for a sound.
It's like he's sculpting with sound, not just assembling beats.
That's a great way to put it. It's like he's got this sonic microscope zooming in on these tiny fragments of music and rearranging them into these incredibly detailed soundscapes.
It makes me think of those huge paintings. If you only look at a tiny section up close, it's just a bunch of random brushstrokes. But when you step back, it's this masterpiece.
Oh, totally. And speaking of details, in the interview, he mentions that he actually wrote lyrics for STEM, like full-on lyrics.
No way.
Yeah, but then he decided not to use them. He felt like it would mess with the flow, the purely instrumental vibe he was going for.
Wow. Talk about trusting your gut.
Hmm.
And Introducing blew up, critically acclaimed, topping year-end lists, becoming a cult classic, even got a Guinness World Record, the first entirely sample-based album.
It really resonated with people, and not just critics. It became this cultural moment,
Yeah.
It showed what sampling could be. It inspired tons of artists.
But that level of success, especially with the debut album, it can be a lot to live up to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And both the Wax Poetics and Quietus articles talk about how DJ Shadow felt that pressure to kind of recreate the sound of Introducing on his next albums.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you create something that iconic, of course people are going to want more of it.
Right. But artists are driven to evolve, to try new things, and sometimes that means going in a different direction.
So it's like Introducing became this incredible achievement, but also kind of a burden.
In a way, yeah. It's like, on one hand, it's this masterpiece that defines his early career, but on the other, it casts such a long shadow.
Making it hard to break free.
Exactly. And you see this playing out in the reactions to his later albums. Like, the Quietus article talks about how The Outsider, his third album, it really divided people.
Between those who loved it and those who wanted more of Introducing.
Yeah, some people were all about how his sound was evolving, how he was incorporating new influences.
While others felt kind of let down that it wasn't the same vibe as his debut.
Which, I get it, if you connect with an album that deeply, you want more of that feeling.
Totally. But then isn't that always the challenge for artists? How do you stay true to your own creative path while also giving the fans, like, what they want?
Right, and to DJ Shadow's credit, he never just tried to copy himself. He kept experimenting, kept pushing boundaries.
Which probably made some people happy and others maybe not so much.
Exactly, but that's what makes him so interesting. He could have easily just ridden the wave of Introducing, but he didn't.
He was more interested in exploring new territory, even if it meant taking risks.
Which I think is the sign of a true artist, right? They're not afraid to evolve, even if it means alienating some people along the way.
Absolutely. And that's something that really comes through in his more recent interviews, too. Like, he talks about how much he admires artists like Neil Young and Miles Davis.
Legends who were constantly pushing themselves, experimenting, never content to just rest on their laurels.
Yeah. And you can definitely see those parallels in DJ Shadow's career, He's always searching for that new sound, that next evolution.
And that restless creative energy, I think that's a big part of what makes Introducing so special, even all these years later.
It's a reminder that music can be this constant process of discovery, this journey without a destination.
And that sometimes the most groundbreaking art comes from the most unexpected places.
Like a bedroom studio in Davis, California.
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of creativity, of pure dedication and vision. DJ Shadow had this idea, this sound in his head, and he chased it no matter what.
And the world of music is a richer place because of it.
100%. So to bring it all back to Introducing,
Yeah.
we've seen how it emerged from this unique moment in hip-hop history, this young artist's obsessive dedication to crate digging and sampling.
His fascination with these forgotten tracks, these sonic fragments that he pieced together into something completely new.
And how that album, born from such a personal journey, ended up connecting with so many people, sparking a whole new wave of instrumental hip-hop, influencing countless artists across genres.
It's a testament to the power of creativity, really. The power of taking something old and making it new again.
And most importantly, the power of staying true to your vision, even when it means defying expectations.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the making of Introducing, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What is it about this album that still resonates with you all these years later?
Yeah, drop a comment and let us know. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, keep those turntables spinning, keep those samples coming, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.